All right, two things I want to talk about this week. The first is the fact that Killzone is back, kind of, sort of. Well, there's a catch. So what happened? This like surprise drop today. Killzone is now officially a crossover thing with Helldivers 2. Yes, Helldivers 2, riding high off of its recent expansion announcement thing from the Game Awards, now has a fun little bit of Killzone in it. That excites me personally as a Killzone enjoyer. That first-person shooter franchise has kind of been long dormant at this point, so I'll take anything, man. There's a player title, a really cool cape with the Hellgas symbol, a player banner with the Hellgas symbol, a cool Killzone-style assault rifle, and of course, a Hellgas armor set. It is a match made in heaven, I gotta say. Like the militaristic fascist style thing was kind of a thing with Helldivers and definitely a thing with Killzone, so it makes sense for them to join up. Unfortunately, though, this Killzone stuff does cost money. Hope you got some credits banked for this one because this stuff is not free. It's paid, and it seems like players are not very happy with that, specifically with Helldivers 2 players that are used to getting a little bit more bang for their buck when they do pay up for stuff. I can't speak to this too much because me personally, I've barely purchased anything in Helldivers 2, but I've only recently jumped back in. This isn't a war bond though. It's in the Superstore, and I quote, "It belongs to a new tier of special premium content reserved for collaborations and other uniquely themed work." The developers at Arrowhead Studios, who are always out there talking to the community and getting feedback and stuff, and it's always a very rapid and contentious relationship for sure. They came out kind of justifying this, saying that, hey, stuff like this is paid so that we can offer a lot of really good core free content. I guess, at least they're explaining, it doesn't really make anything better, but the way I look at this is, players are used to some free cool goodies, especially free PlayStation themed goodies. I mean, just last week I jumped into the winter update for Astrobot that was provided as like a free winter holiday themed update with like snow and of course new characters. Like you can unlock like the Spider-Man Astrobots and that and stuff like that. And that was added totally free. Just a fun little, PlayStation family umbrella type thing. And here you'd think they'd be celebrating their old franchise Killzone, but no, they're like, you want Killzone? Pay up for it, fuckers. Which is like, I hate to be cynical, but right? It's almost like, oh man, they brought it back finally a little bit, but they brought it back for money. Like, you should have known. Like, if something like Killzone was coming back, we should have known that they were going to ask us to pay up for it. I don't think that justifies it, and it does bum me out. But at the very least, I am happy to see Killzone kind of in something again. I mean, Sony had to sign off on this, so they're still aware of the IP, and I'm hoping that maybe the attention this gets, even if, some players aren't happy about buying it, maybe the attention this gets will lead to something. Is that wishful thinking at this point? Are we really going to see a Killzone revival? I don't know, man. But this opens the floodgates. Like, what else can they bring back? Specifically, the people at Arrowhead behind Helldivers 2 did say that they only want to do crossovers and collaborations where they actually feel like they make sense. So if we're talking about like old, dead PlayStation franchises, can we get like... I don't know, something Resistance themed? I feel like that can kind of make sense. That can kind of fit in there. Or go back even further and just do like a SOCOM, US Navy SEALs crossover. I used to love that game on PlayStation 2. But anyway, PlayStation nostalgia aside, that's the Helldivers 2 thing right now. Helldivers 2 has been interesting and more enticing for me personally, interesting to jump back into it. I kind of fell off in the middle where people were kind of having issues with changes and updates to the game and like all that shit. So yeah, hopefully I can just jump in and maybe enjoy this. I don't know though, I want to hear from people who are like deep in that community. Is that really the sentiment going around? That's what I've seen scrolling online. People aren't too happy with having to pay up for this, but where do you sit if you've been playing this? And if you haven't, how do you feel about Killzone? Let's just talk about Killzone. Welcome to Two Things. If you're new here, every Wednesday, essentially I take two news stories that I find interesting and I dive into them and talk about them a little more. On the Game Ranks Friday news show, I wrap up all the news for the week. Here, I like to drill into specific topics that I just find interesting. And the other thing this week is, actually, before I go into that, I just wanted to say thank you for watching this new show. I started this Two Things news show on Wednesdays a couple of months back just because I wanted to be out there a little more. I wanted to be in more videos. I usually am very selective about what videos I make, but I just wanted to get out there. So thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. This is going to be the last Two Things video for the year. I'll be back in January. Hopefully there's some gaming news in early January. It's going to be dry, but yeah, I'm still going to have other videos going up on this channel throughout the next couple of weeks, so keep your eyes peeled. But yeah, the next story involves Xbox. And what are they doing? And I say, what are they doing not to like dunk on Xbox or console war or anything. I'm just saying, like, what is the messaging here? There's been a lot of questions lately. Of course, head of Xbox Game Studios, Matt Booty, said once again that it's a case-by-case basis with their titles. Then on the other hand, you have parent company head of Microsoft, Satya Nadella, saying that they're aiming for players to enjoy Xbox games on their preferred device. Any device, really. And this backs up their whole "this is an Xbox" marketing campaign that people have been talking about for a while. So you hear two kind of different, slightly different messaging. Like, I just look at it like between what Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, is saying, what Matt Booty is saying, what the head of Microsoft is saying. They really just got to double down and nail down that messaging. But at this point, now, I mean, we've done a lot of waffling for years and years about like, oh man, is everything going to be exclusive? Are some things going to be exclusive? They've made it confusing. It's not just us pontificating, but at this point now we can look at actions. I think now we've seen like an actual, real, genuine pivot to more Xbox going multi-platform. So I expect that to be the case moving forward, but that's not really the whole news story here. I did want to talk about the bigger thing was some of the data we're getting behind this. So this comes from Matt Piscatella at Circana, a really, really good analyst. He's worth a follow. The analyst firm Circana put out some data today. It was also picked up and reported by all the major outlets. Year over year, video game hardware spending was flat in November, despite a 15% growth in PS5 because of a 2% Switch decline and a bigger 29% Xbox hardware decline. Now, we don't have exact numbers and figures because Microsoft themselves don't really put it out, but I think you could chalk it up to two things, right? Maybe it's not enough, I don't know, Xbox exclusives to move console hardware, those killer apps, so to speak. But I think more so it is Xbox's changes, Xbox talking about opening up the Xbox ecosystem. Their work to do that for a while now. This is an Xbox marketing platform. Is it really actually leading to people deciding, oh, okay, I guess I don't need to buy a physical Xbox anymore? Maybe that's the case. Looking at this data. Again, you can only get so much from it, but we already knew at a point that PlayStation was outselling Xbox like 2-to-1. That ratio has seemingly widened. Phil Spencer at a point also said like straight up that the console war is over and that they are shifting priorities. The positive note, and like again, we don't have Xbox Game Pass exact numbers, but it does seem like the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 putting it on Game Pass thing seems to have worked out for Xbox thanks to just an overall 8% subscription growth in November. I could totally see that. So it's not all bad news, but even the like hardware sales now being quote unquote bad news. I don't know. I think it's just the changing of the times. I say that as someone who is pretty platform agnostic at this point. I'm invested in all of them. I have been since I was a teenager, much to the detriment of my wallet. So while people completely only invested in Xbox, this is probably disappointing. Probably for some of them. The way I look at it, the bright side I look at it is that if this at least keeps Microsoft and then therefore keeps Xbox funding studios and producing new games, and there are new games to play, I'm happy about that because regardless of platform, I would just be happy for there to be things to play. If the next Fable comes out and I can play it on Xbox or PlayStation, so be it. I'm just happy that a new Fable got out there. But along with that, Jez Corden from Windows Central reports that more PS5 exclusives are jumping on next year and that there is technically going to be no more Xbox exclusives. This is, of course, reporting from somebody who specializes in the world of Xbox and has gotten some scoops right in the past. Jez Corden is considered by many to be somewhat of a trusted source. Apparently, there are going to be, and I quote, more unannounced and previously PlayStation exclusive games coming to Xbox Series X and S next year as well. So to me, I guess maybe it's looking as more of like a two-way street now, somewhat. You've got things like Genshin Impact coming to Xbox, so maybe we're going to see more. Obviously, there's a lot of speculation, like are we going to see Silent Hill, Stellar Blade, Final Fantasy? Who knows? But the whole exclusives thing back and forth is getting a little bit messier. It's a little bit more confusing. Even switching back, Indiana Jones, right? Indiana Jones is releasing on PS5 earlier next year in 2025. And when I put out videos about that game, a lot of people still weren't aware of that fact. So, like, this PlayStation stuff coming to Xbox, that's cool. More things, just more open. But I'm more curious about the line that Xbox won't have exclusives going forward, because I still wonder about some of their biggest things, right? Their biggest babies, like the Gears of War, but also really Halo. Are we going to see Halo on PlayStation? Who the hell knows? It's a weird time. And like I said at the start of this video, all we can do is really look at their actions at this point, and their actions are pointing in the direction that they are going to continue to put more stuff on PlayStation. But at the very least, for some Xbox people, at least some PlayStation stuff is now showing up on Xbox. But just goes to show nothing matters anymore. Everything is crazy and topsy-turvy and on its head, and you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Sorry, not to end on a cynical note. I want to hear what you guys think about that story, but I do have a bonus thing for you this week. You know, I did the 2 news stories, and I like to throw in a little bonus at the end, whether it's a holiday Christmas gift idea or something like that. But this time around, it is Christmas themed. Mariah Carey is going to be in Fortnite. That's a sentence for sure. But it means the first person from Long Island is in Fortnite. That is huge. That is a big deal for us personally. Mariah Carey, Huntington native. We love to see it. God bless. But I'm just doing a bit. Honestly, like, Fortnite just continues to surprise me, from obviously them having a first person mode, like a first person shooter mode, which is wild, to, you know, Solid Snake and Raiden in the game, to, you know, Thanos, to Star Wars characters, to Godzilla, to the fact that you can put ones like Jordan ones on characters. Like, I have a image saved on my phone and that I look at sometimes and just laugh. I'm serious. It is Moff Gideon. It is Moff Gideon here from Star Wars, but also Raiden in Fortnite wearing ones. What a wild world we live in, and proof that if you give the corporations an inch with IP, they will take a mile. But yeah, that's what I'm talking about this week. That's the stuff I found interesting. So let me know what you think about Mariah Carey in Fortnite. How do you feel about that? You know what? I like the song. I like All I Want for Christmas Is You. When I worked retail, I hated it. I was sick of it. But, you know, at the end of the day, nostalgia and the holidays is a hell of a drug. Anyway, I've been talking for way too long. So let me know what you think about the stories from this week. I'd love to hear from you. Your thoughts on Helldivers and Killzone crossing over. Are you into it? Are you not? And of course, the Xbox stuff. I stumbled through sales numbers and figures. I am not an analyst, but, you know, again, I'm just talking about, it seems like now at this point, it is really, really official. Xbox is making some big changes. But yeah, let's talk about any of this stuff down in the comments. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, all those places if you want to follow me. But for now, I'm Jake Baldino. Thanks for watching. Subscribe because video games. Pizza's on me.